The universe is loud in a very quiet way. Are you listening? Welcome to the Cosmic Whispers podcast, where we delve into the realms of spirituality, personal growth, and the cosmic dance between the third and fifth dimensions. In a world filled with noise and distractions, we invite you to tune into your own cosmic whispers, where we can awaken our inner wisdom and embark on unveiling the authentic self and cosmic connection. Please note that the content provided here is not intended as medical advice. It is essential to consult your healthcare professional for any medical inquiries. Welcome to episode 11 with Reverend Lisa Q, Fetterman, founder of The Plant Minister and co-founder of Lead Embodied. Reverend Lisa is a psychedelic minister who helps top executives integrate and lead their teams from a place of acceptance and commitment. She offers both one-on-one and peer group coaching on psychedelic integration, drawing from the wisdom of internal family systems, positive psychology, and Hakomi. She also serves as a guiding light on the advisory boards of various startups and venture funds, including Crisis Text Line, offering immediate confidential solace to those in crisis. Reverend Lisa is the founder and former CEO of Nomiku, the first ever home-sous-vide machine, which successfully clinched an offer on Shark Tank and raised top-tier capital from investors such as Sequoia. She has been featured in Wired, Make, and Forbes and was named on Inc., Forbes, and Zagat Survey's 30 Under 30 lists for her pioneering work in technology. Amazing. I already knew it was going to be amazing.
Yeah, I'm setting the vibes.
You are a vibe, Lisa. This is why you're here. All right, Lisa Fetterman, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I would love to share your journey with everyone, starting from... Shall we start in the San Francisco days?
Oh, I'm still in San Francisco. I'm still in my San Francisco era.
Yes. The previous San Francisco era.
The previous San Francisco era. The original E-ish, the beginning of the San Francisco era.
Yeah, was that when did we meet? 8 years ago or something? Maybe longer. It might have been longer, actually.
It's been a time. It's been almost a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's insanity.
But it's amazing how Asian don't raise.
Yeah. We look the same, right?
Exactly the same. Somewhere in the attic, there's a picture that's of a totally decrepit person. That's our secret.
So we met when we were both in food.
Yeah.
I think I had met you at your office. What inspired you to start with food and start your previous business?
We're both too ahead of our time, Joan. Damn. We were early on the scene, early. We called it, and moved with it too.
It's so true because, for a bit of background for everyone, I had a paleo gelato company and I was selling wholesale. And long story short, by the time I had closed my business down, it was 3 years later, paleo gelato was on all the shelves. So I was literally 3 years too early.
Timing matters.
Yeah, exactly.
Timing matters. And we still get brownie points because I invented the home-sous-vide immersion circulator.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to say. It's like Rami and Michelle's high school reunion where you go and you're like, yeah, I invented the Post-it note. Except what people don't tell you is that when you're a first mover and you have the glitz and the glamour, there's no money.
There's no money.
And in fact, when you graduate, you're in the hole for a substantial amount of time.
Absolutely.
But that's also the beauty of it. Because when you are so poor that that you cannot even get a baby credit card, you realize you don't need anything to live. You really don't need it. And some people might be saying oh, that's nice coming from somebody with no kids and responsibilities. I have 2 kids. Hella responsibilities. I got a dog I gotta feed too.
I mean, that's 3 kids.
Exactly. My fur baby. You can just get away with love a lot of the time. Not forever, but it is remarkable how much you can get away with for very little.
Yeah, I agree. I think the experience, it feels like a whole another lifetime. That's priceless, honestly. I think I had met with you because we were talking about getting investors.
Yeah. God bless those angel investors. They were the best.
Yeah, I had a couple angel investors. And for you, you had angel investors as well?
I had primarily angels because like what I was doing was just way too hard. It was hardware, software, firmware. There was a marketing at towards the end. We had food that we shipped people that you could wave in front of your sous vide machine and it automatically cook it
Oh,
for you.
that's wild.
That's pretty
Yeah,
sick,
yeah.
right? That was like my like big swan song against all the competition that came out after me. You know, I was like, hey, I was first to move and it's not a well-funded effort, but I thought, maybe I can make it. We have a shot. Maybe if I just like out creative them, it'll work. It didn't work. However, I still got to have a shot. And that was pretty balling.
Yeah. And you had a great book too as well.
Two, Sous Vide at Home and Sous Vide Made Simple.
They were beautiful books.
Aw, thank you. Yeah, a lot of people helped me with that for sure. Not a solo effort, but I loved it.
I mean, it sounds so cliche, but sometimes it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. I look back at the time and I'm like, wow, I learned so much. I met a lot of great people, and San Francisco is just a great place to start something.
Yeah. When you're in it and people say like, "Oh, you're so much bigger than your company. There's more for you out there." It is very, very hard to believe that. And you're like, "Oh, you're just saying that to be nice," or like, yes, you may genuinely believe that, but you don't know about me. Like, I am dedicated. I'm loyal. I want to finish this properly and like make returns and do all those things. But in the end, it's like nobody wants you to struggle like that. Not your family, not your investors, not your friends, not yourself. Ultimately, you have to realize.
Absolutely. How was your experience being like an Asian female founder?
Well,
For everything, finding investors, all of it.
I had a secret weapon, which was my co-founder and husband, Abe, who is a tall white man.
Oh, bravo.
Yeah.
Is that the secret?
Yeah, it is. Everybody knows it. I think as an Asian woman, it's easy to be underestimated, and that is such an awesome advantage. Nobody expects, you can just move in silence and sweep up and sneak up on them. They're like, "Huh, Lisa, you're here? Like, I didn't expect you here." Like at a fancy party or at an award show or something. They're like, "Oh, Lisa, you wrote a book?" Blah, 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 blah,
That's a nice perspective, actually. I like that.
It's very fun. You could get to uppercut them, be like, "Okay, great. This is a huge advantage. You're not going to try to stop me actively."
So let's talk about your journey after this, because there's quite a few changes after that.
Yeah.
What happened post Nomiku? What was the next move and how did you get there? What intuitively brought you there?
Well, I'm going to be real with you. After Nomiku is basically like my atonement girl era. Like, I was like, I like played it too fast and loose with my family's finances. I spent too much time away from everybody, all my friends. I like got to mend and tend. Basically, I felt like I was repenting for suffering for 7 years at my own business. And I was like, okay, time for me to just make a fuck ton of money so that my family, doesn't like the car doesn't get declined at the grocery store. So I was like, I'll work anywhere that'll take me. So I was down. And I ended up working at a ad agency in New York, and we moved our whole entire family.
I remember that.
To Brooklyn, to Park Slope.
I also remember that it was a quick.
Yeah. Yeah. We lasted 11 months. A quickness. Yeah. And, from what I discovered there is that I just like love people and connecting with people and being creative, but not for anybody else.
I understand that. That's difficult for me too, especially if you're working hard. Do you have long hours? Like, what was it? I mean, aside from having to work for someone, what else influenced you to move back
to San Francisco? It was, mainly for my husband's company to move back. And for me, like, we gave Brooklyn a shot. I really wanted it to be our home base. But then we remembered seasons. and that shit ain't cute. like, it's horrific. If you've spent almost a decade in California and then you experience winter doesn't end. It doesn't end. And then it's a very, very fast. You are boiling hot in summer and the garbage starts to ferment and you're like, time to move back to San Francisco.
I lived in Philly for 6 months, and that was when I experienced like real seasons.
Weather.
Yeah. Like the disgusting 4 showers a day summer. For me, the snow wasn't too bad. I mean, it was freezing. But then again, I was only there for 6 months. I think you can do almost anything for 6 months.
Yeah.
It's hard to go from California to the East Coast. Like I have friends from the East Coast that moved to California. And then they go back and they're like, wow, I can't do it, because you get soft. You get too used to the weather and everything.
Good. Everybody should become more soft. Like this hard person hustle lifestyle, there is no honor to it.
I agree. I think back in the first era of San Francisco, that was the hustle era.
Oh yeah, the girl boss era.
Yeah, the being proud of hustling. And I look back and I'm just like, it's all about alignment for me now, because I'm also like super burnt out, and it takes years to kind of recover from that. If you really just physically drive yourself to the ground.
They say 5 to 7 years to recover from burnout.
Yeah. And I'm at year 5 right now.
You're emerging.
Yeah, I feel like I'm feeling better finally, but I look back and I almost like shudder when I think about like, oh, I have to hustle. And I still kind of fall back into bad habits of hustling.
Sure.
Because that's kind of like my default mode. But yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of unlearning. And part of the reason I moved to Paris was because people here, when they take a break, they enjoy their break. Like culturally, they will sit down for a meal and really enjoy their meal. And I needed to not be around that hustle culture in order for me to like calm down a little bit.
Co-regulate.
Yeah, exactly. I am still American though. I still have those habits instilled in me, but I'm learning to unlearn.
It's fun. You're quirky. You're like the American that's obsessed with work. That's cute. It's a vibe.
They're like, why is she working so much? Oh, she's American.
Yeah, exactly. They just see us spinning our wheels. And for what? To
get burnt out. But no, things are different now. For you, how are things different?
I went back to San Francisco, and during that time, it was the entire pandemic time. So yeah, it was the entire pandemic time. The good thing about moving to New York was that the schools were open for the kids, and San Francisco schools were still closed. And they just opened when we moved back.
Oh, okay. That was good timing then.
Great timing. That's what Spirit wanted, what the universe wanted. We're like, hell yeah, thanks. High five, angels. And then I always was curious about connection and people, and I loved how food could do it in a scaled way. Like food is the original thing that had scale. It's not like just for you. Just cooking for you is great, but it feels a little it feels counterintuitive. It's a little awkward. It's like made to be shared. And I loved how like the ethos of made to be shared. And then I thought about care and love and showing love. And people are always like, yeah, food is love. It's care. It's like, my grandma's spirit, da-da. And I'm like, well, let's just get to the source then. Let's go straight for the sauce. Let's do psychedelics. And, long-time drug user, first-time therapeutic drug user back in the pandemic. And it was completely different. The ceremony, the integrations afterwards, it completely changed our world. For my husband, during the pandemic, he became resistant. He had depression for 23 years, and it became resistant to antidepressants and SSRIs, all of it. And I was like, well, and he's a very, very big goody two shoes, like by the book. He's the type of person that will write things on the declaration form when you're traveling. Anything to declare, he'll be like, oh yeah, my headphones. I'll be like, give me that. They cannot look inside our suitcase. But anyways, I was like, hey, we should do psychedelics. And we found a guide and he had me go first. So I tried all the medicines first and I came back and like, see, all good. And then he did it.
So what was the series of psychedelics that you guys started with?
I started with MDMA, ketamine, and then psilocybin.
Did you do a guided therapist for all of them?
Yes. Yeah, a guide. It's so different from doing your own thing.
Oh, for sure. Night and day.
Yeah. It's more intense. Folks who are drug users are used to higher doses outside of therapy. And that's like all fine and good when you have the ocean, there's lots of distractions, but when you're focused internally and there's a blindfold on, you don't need that much. And you can really get to work. During this time, during the pandemic, I mean, it was a sad time for a lot of people. Lots of people I know went through mental health crises during this time. And like, why wouldn't they? It is an incredibly fucked up time. My husband in particular, his 23 years of depression, his depression became resistant to prescription drugs. And, we all knew that psychedelics had been making a huge dent and had helped a lot of people. So I was like, let's try it. And 6 months later, he was fully in remission with his depression.
That's amazing.
Right? And has been ever since. When you are presented with a miracle like that, you can't do anything else with your life but that thing.
Yeah. Good for him. And he had to get off all the SSRIs, of course, before he started treatment.
That's right.
And how long does he have to be off of them before he can start with psychedelic treatment?
Yeah, tapering is different from everybody. That's for somebody to like talk to their psychiatrist about. For him, it was about 2-3 months. But everybody's different. Some folks can be off it for 2 weeks and they're ready to go.
It was resistant anyway, so it's not like you felt any different for tapering, right?
No, it was different.
Oh, okay.
It was worse.
Oh my gosh. Poor guy. That's rough.
Even worse, I know. Yes. Super rough.
I empathize for him. Yeah, I mean, I always say like psychedelics saved my life.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talk about like the hustle era in San Francisco, I was dealing with a lot of mental health issues like depression and some anxiety, actually microdosing LSD, as well as a full dose, not like a hero's dose, but just a full, I would say like 100 micrograms. At that time, it like wiped out my depression and anxiety. It was over a course of a few months.
Wow. Yeah, that's right. Tell the people it's not one dose. Tell the people it's not one dose.
Of course, it's a great tool, but you also have to do the work. You have to integrate.
That's right.
You can't just like take it and you're like, okay, all my problems are solved. You have to really face everything that comes up and then resolve it on your own. I guess that's really up to the universe and yourself on how long that takes.
Right.
That time period, it was over a few months. It really saved my life. Like I was just going down, and then I went back to my baseline.
Welcome back to life, baby.
Yeah, it's great. And the pandemic did trigger for me what I call it like a dark night of the soul. So I've been going through that the past 4 or 5 years. It's just completely different things that I'm working through right now.
It's bigger. It's like more expanded.
Exactly. And I mean, I think it's normal. The pandemic was like, they call it the reset, but it's resetting everyone. It's like, okay, here's your shadows. Like, what are you going to do about it?
Make some new friends.
Exactly. Was it mushrooms that you took then?
Yes.
For the depression?
Yeah, okay. Mushrooms and ketamine. Ketamine is wonderful medicine as well. And we get into like psychedelics, we start to call everything medicine, and also they're drugs. It's fun to get high. And that's great too. There's like this psychedelic exceptionalism that comes from, I think, white folks and white supremacy, where it's like, hey, we're not here to get high. It's like serious business. Why not both?
It's all about intention.
That's right. It's all about intention. Food is fun and it's medicine.
Well, food is also considered a drug because the definition of a drug is something that changes your mood, right?
That's right.
The chemistry in your brain.
That's correct. Yeah. And a lot of drugs can be food. I know like people are out there eating wheat brownies right now.
Mushroom chocolates too.
Mushroom chocolates.
It's so interesting because I feel like San Francisco is such like, it's like normal in our culture to take psychedelics. Like it's not really frowned upon.
That's right.
I mean, in the entrepreneur community as well. Like I was surrounded by people on psychedelics that were using it for personal and professional reasons. It's really interesting culture, honestly.
Personal and professional. I mean, do you get fucking severed when you go into work? You're still you.
That's true. Some people do.
Some people do. I mean, that's a great commentary. I can't live that way. It feels really icky. Like I feel really disconnected and out of touch with a lot of things. I tried. I tried. And that's what happens when I work for somebody else. And everybody tried to tell me, like, a lot of people didn't hire me because they're like, you've been an entrepreneur for so long. Looking at me like I'm a feral cat. like would you even like last long here at Apple, at like Meta, blah, blah, blah. I'd be like, God, you have no idea what I do for a fucking Klondike bar right now. Oh, like, just hire me. Like, money matters. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Obviously, I'm not going to be the happiest here.
Yeah.
But like, I got mouths to feed. I didn't even get it. But, all for the best.
Yeah. Well, you got to do what you got to do. It's all good. Mm-hmm. Everything has a timeline as well.
So true.
So tell me about your experience with each of the psychedelics.
Sure. They all have such beautiful different qualities. MDMA.
That's my favorite.
Yeah. It feels like I'm like even breathing a different kind of air, and light looks different. I don't exactly get any visuals, but it's like a very somatic high. Can't have MDMA without amphetamine. So it's also like that, like going down a roller coaster kind of feel. It comes in waves. That's why they call it rolling. And it helped me confront many scary things and bring up a lot of memories that I had forgotten that I was able to process. It felt like I was like processing like old wounds and melding them with fresh ones and understanding why, like, new, like, my triggers and why I react the way that I do, and embrace a lot of mystery too. I think MDMA is much more for me about like clarity and nourishment. Mm-hmm. And then ketamine is like, damn, it's like somebody just like holds you down. For me, somatically, it's like somebody holds you down and takes you for a ride. It kind of just like happens to you hard. It's definitely more of a blunt instrument than psilocybin, mm-hmm. or MDMA. You just like get taken. I got taken by the cat. They call it a hole for a reason. You just like are in the hole. So yeah, you gotta stay in there, and you get to resonate with a different kind of body that you wish you had, and then it teaches your body how to behave like that body.
Have you ever felt like you need a little grounding when the full moon hits? Perhaps you want to open your third eye a bit before meditation, get your creative juices flowing for a project, or balance some womb healing? Cosmic Mama ceremonial herbal teas for the chakras can help. Our 100% organic, sustainably sourced, and caffeine-free blends are meticulously handcrafted in small batches. Whether you're looking for an herbal infusion to complement an intentional moment or ceremony, or you just want to enjoy a soothing and delicious brew, Cosmic Mama is here for you. You can support our podcast and enjoy 15% off with code WHISPERS15 on cosmicmama.co. Indulge in the magic of Cosmic Mama ceremonial herbal teas and let their harmonizing essence guide you on your path of connection and well-being. I've heard so many amazing things about ketamine treatment. I haven't tried that yet. There is a clinic in Berlin associated with the Mind Foundation. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them. It's on my to-do list to try. And I've just heard that it's just such life-changing medicine.
It's great. It's great. I recommend it for everybody that can tolerate it, that it's okay for them after they talk to their psychiatrist and doctor, like, go for it. It's not to be missed. And psilocybin is pretty spectacular. We've done it for millennia. It pops up like winks at us through the Bible, the Quran, the Eleusinian mysteries. All these other cultures had psilocybin.
Santa Claus.
Since the dawn of man, there have been mushrooms, like there has been food side by side. Mm-hmm. And it is the oldest form of communication through chemical communication. Before we learned to speak, before there was sound or light or any other way that we communicate with each other, it's just chemical. Like when you birth a baby and the chemical bond of oxytocin between you and a baby, that's like the first language. Mm-hmm. And so psilocybin, I believe, is like humanity's first language. And you can speak to God through it. And it is absolutely magnificent. You can let it take you. You can have it be your ally. You can have it be your mentor. It shapes so many things. Can you tell it's like a baby? It's big and it's special and it's here. Like, it's called the Niños. It can be scary, but also they're called like the children. And that is so cool.
Well, I think the level of your voyage is really up to your psyche, right? For me, mushrooms, my body doesn't really do well with mushrooms for some reason. When I was microdosing, I had some really good moments, but then when I took a normal dose, the scariest parts of my psyche came up unexpectedly. But you need that, right? Like, it's not always going to be like happy, right? The whole point is to deal with what needs to come up.
Yeah, and whatever comes up is greeted with kindness. And Leo Zeff, he would always say to people when they're journeying, just look at it. Just look. And they say with psilocybin, if you meet a dragon, open its mouth to take a look. The more you resist, definitely the harder the journey can become.
I did that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You've been there.
I learned that the hard way. That happened actually with LSD. That was a really good lesson, actually. I'm definitely more connected with LSD than I am with mushrooms. When I started taking psychedelics, it was really interesting because I started more for therapeutic reasons. And when I took a higher dose, I noticed it started getting dark. Like, visually, headspace, it like visually was getting dark. Like, there was like black clouds coming through and my headspace started going down. And I was like, oh shit, can I turn this around? And I actually did.
Wow.
I was like, hey, actually, I don't think I'm ready for this. Let's turn it a little bit, at least for the next 5 minutes. And it literally, like, the clouds kind of like went away for a little bit.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was a really good lesson. I faced it, like, I acknowledged it. I was like, hey, you're there. I see you, but I need a break. And it was enough to give me a little bit of break.
That's beautiful. Yeah. The medicine can be really good at giving you a break if you ask for it. Yeah, that's amazing.
And it's about asking. It's about asking. And people forget, or maybe I'm just talking about myself.
I forget, no question. You don't even know you're allowed to.
Yeah. And you have to remember that the universe is there to help you. Like, your guides, your angels, everyone is there to help you. You just have to ask.
Yeah.
That was a good lesson. So you did all 4 during the pandemic.
All 4 things. What? All 4 druggies?
Yeah.
More than 4. I mean, pandemic, what else do you have to do but drugs? Also.
My question is, were you put like on a protocol for whatever that you wanted to work on?
For me, it was just vibes. I went to the guide and we have talk counseling, and my guide is not a licensed therapist. We would just talk and then talk about what we're working on and then go on a journey for that. Definitely more trauma-filled topics would be met with MDMA, and more like higher exploration, existential exploration, psilocybin or LSD or DMT would be like a great medicine for that. And I love that we're talking about psychedelics, because psychedelics are for Asian girls. It's an Asian girl drug. We claim it. We claim it. It's ours.
That's hilarious. Oh my God, you crack me up. I got to say though, going back to MDMA and trauma, I think it's such a beautiful medicine to be able to acknowledge your trauma without being triggered. Like, that's the thing, right? Yeah. You can't really open that box up otherwise. I mean, it's difficult. I mean, you can, but it's really difficult depending on the trauma.
Yes, absolutely. And that's so valid. And people process traumas differently. My goal for myself personally is to be able to be triggered by anything and everything and take it. Just be like, oh, I'm triggered. Fuck, yeah. This sucks. We inhale, hell yeah.
I mean, I understand where you're coming from, because that's the hard part.
So hard.
Is facing it. You can't process it without facing it.
Yeah.
All emotions are beautiful. And I've talked about this before, and honoring happiness, honoring sadness, honoring grief is just as important. And being able to honor your triggers will just take you so much farther into working out through your trauma and not feeling ashamed or scared and like suppressing it. It'll really do wonders.
I'm also down to feel ashamed or scared anytime.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Not my favorite. However,
it doesn't feel good.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good, but I'm not as repulsed or have the aversion as I once did. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful to be able to like cry anytime. I'm grateful for the ability to suffer through, or not suffer. I'm not suffering, but I do say ouch. Like I'm grateful for the ability to say ouch when something hurts me.
I like that. That's a very beautiful way to live.
Aww. No, you.
To celebrate your shadows.
So true. So true.
Yes. So what are you working on right now?
These days, I am on the board of Crisis Text Line, and we cover it nationally for the United States.
Wow.
Texting when you're in crisis for the United States, the UK, Ireland, and Canada.
Wow.
Yes.
That's intense.
I know, right? I'm so proud of Crisis Text Line. When they first came out, folks were like, people would never text to talk about their mental health issues, something sensitive like that. And it's like, have you met children? Have you met people who are deaf? It's like, there are so many populations that we don't think about that relies heavily on text. And soon it took over, like we text more. I am silently texting more than I speak. This is the most I've spoken in probably days.
Wow. I feel like it would be easier to text about your mental health issues than to call.
Yes, I agree.
Talk to a stranger and be like, hey, I don't know you, but like I'm super depressed right now because of this.
Right.
So it would make sense to have a text line.
Right. There's a feeling of more anonymity and like a shield. You're protected. Feel more protected. And it's been fantastic. Like I really am behind the mission. Mm-hmm. It's obviously great. It's easy to explain, way easier to explain than sous vide.
And you really get to connect with people on such a deep and empathetic level. And you're such a people person.
Yes, I love
it's like perfect for you for connection and help.
Exactly.
And service.
Exactly. And I run my company that I co-founded with my girlfriend, Dr. Dre. Her name is Dr. Dre.
Love it.
Andrea. Yeah. Andrea Mellon. And we have a company called Lead Embodied, where we have psychedelic workshops for leaders.
Oh, I love that. And is it San Francisco based, I'm assuming?
It is West Coast based. We go to like
West Coast. Okay.
We'll go to Topanga. We'll go up and down the West Coast, wherever things are more decriminalized.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, it's just going to be a matter of time until it spreads.
Until it's completely legalized. Like I think MAPS invested millions on an MDMA plant. They are going to produce MDMA when it becomes legal. They're ready.
Oh, MAPS is doing it.
I know MAPS is doing it because MAPS has
Good for them.
They have two companies. One is their like public benefit company that throws on the conferences and everything, and another company that makes pure MAPS grade MDMA.
That's great, actually, because I was at like a psychedelic conference. This was like a few years ago, and I think they talked about the ethical issues with pharmaceutical companies starting to manufacture MDMA.
Yeah.
Versus like MAPS.
Right.
Because then they're going to start hiking up the prices and it's not going to be affordable for anyone. So it's nice if MAPS has their own pharmaceutical company so they can, I don't know what word to use, control it.
They can be a regulating body, more of a regulating body in psychedelics.
Yes. And fulfill their mission, which is to help people.
Yeah.
I love MAPS.
It's such a sweet mission. Oh.
Yeah, I'm a big supporter of MAPS.
Yeah. Me too.
Oh, that's good news. Of course. So your company's West Coast.
West Coast company.
And eventually you'll expand.
I don't know. Something good about like starting small and keeping it cozy. Like eventually the vision is a psychedelic spa castle. You feel me?
Oh, yeah.
A big place where everyone can get together as a community and we heal in relational bonds with each other. And new standards of care get executed clinically and spiritually. Because right now, one-on-one psychotherapy with psychedelics is so incredibly cost prohibitive. And it is very taxing on the practitioner.
Yeah, it is.
And we've seen like the dyads clinically, the dyads of clinicians, male and female, usually when they run these psychedelic tests at UCSF or at the Imperial College of London. And it's like, what else is like a dyadic duo for somebody to go through a journey? A midwife and a doula. Why do we not have that model in psychedelics? Is it because it's a very manly field, or is it already, or it's already being done and we forgot about it?
Yeah.
Let's bring it back.
We got to bring it back.
Bring it back.
So I actually wanted to backtrack a little bit and ask about the crisis text line. How do you hold space for people, and how do you hold space for yourself? Because I imagine it becomes very heavy.
Yeah, very heavy. Very heavy, especially when you're talking to young people and they're in crisis. It's heartbreaking. So one way that I hold space for people when I'm on the crisis text line is I make sure to give them my full attention and all of my love for a specific amount of time. I don't overdo it. I typically don't do beyond 4 being my minimum, 4 to like 8 hours of volunteering on the platform a week. It's rare that you see me go over 4. I typically do during the holiday season, like from November to December. It's when it ratchets up quite a bit. That's when we also need the most volunteers. So any folks out there listening and want to do something, please come. You'll be supervised. Every conversation is supervised by a social worker or a psychologist. It's great.
That's really great support.
Yeah, I know, right? And you can all lean on them, but we also give like thousands of dollars worth of training to you when you volunteer. It takes like a month to complete. It's big. Oh, it doesn't have to take a month. You can blaze through it fast. If you wanted to, which I did because I had COVID and I was like, oh, I want to do this. Like a couple of years ago, I was like, I want to do this. So how I hold space is that I give absolutely my 100%, just not 100% of the time. Like maybe 2% of the time, 2% of my life that week, I give 100%. And then how I hold space for myself is that I just let myself walk around with a broken heart. I'm like, I'm fucked up from this. I'm like, all right.
Do you hear Tupi in the background giving you support? She just started barking when you said that.
Yeah, thanks, Tupi.
She sends her love.
Yeah, thank you, Tupi. Yeah, it gets me fucked up and sad. And like, I have a therapist. I have my guide. I have my family. Just such a web of support around me. And I just let myself get wrecked.
I love your ability to just surrender to it. It takes a lifetime sometimes to learn to surrender to it.
I will keep learning for the rest of my life. Because when you're surprised by it, I actually find it hard to surrender if I'm surprised by it. But because I'm going in and there's a system, there's like, you know what you're expecting. You're expecting, I'm going to go in here and get my ass kicked for a few hours. And that's what I'm expecting. If I get my ass kicked unexpectedly, like Carrie style, I'm at prom and then red paint gets poured on me. I'm not going to be like this. I would go full telekinesis.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess just embrace the process, right? Embrace it to the core.
Yeah. And enjoy mistakes or tolerate mistakes, whatever. Tolerate is good. Tolerate.
That's how you learn, right?
I am told, and I have witnessed it, and yet I'm still resistant. Oh, well.
You're still human.
Yeah. Guess so, after all.
After all those psychedelics, you're still human.
I thought I'd be AI now, but yeah.
We'll get there someday.
God willing.
Oh, man. Hilarious.
I hope folks know we're just kidding. Calm down.
Not really.
Oh, shit. Okay, holla. Singularity.
So tell me more about positive psychology and the Hakomi informed approach.
Positive psychology was formed by this professor at UPenn, Martin Siegelman, I believe was his name. And I mean, he's still alive. Sorry, what was his name?
He's still alive, everyone.
He's still he's he's still alive, and a lot of folks have taken his class, like the Ducksworth, who wrote Grit, about it's all about resilience. And what I love about positive psychology is that it kind of flips the traditional psychology model on its head. It's not pathologizing. Of course, there's like the pathologizing aspect of it. It's still in the field of psychology, but I just like love that it points to how to like the horizon of psychology had always been something is wrong with you. You're depressed, you have anxiety, you have ADHD. Those things can be very, very true. And psychology goes to fix. And with positive psychology, it's about build. Like you learn about learned helplessness, why you're in the situation you are in, why you feel stuck, and ways to make yourself more resilient and feel less helpless. I totally resonate with that and the non-pathologizing angle. And it's relatively recent, even though the guy has been teaching it for decades now at UPenn. And that goes in great with Hakomi. Hakomi is a gentle, nonviolent approach that is non-pathologizing. And it's basically a Hakomi session is when you offer a few words and let the person go deeply inside themselves somatically to feel it inside their body. And you kind of do this like doula midwifery with them to help them reach into themselves and then reemerge and integrate. It's very suitable for psychedelic work.
The mind-body connection is so important for psychology. And I feel like we're so disconnected from our bodies in the modern world.
Especially in Silicon Valley.
Yeah. Your physical ailments are telling you something is happening emotionally, you know? That's really nice having that somatic approach and talking gently with yourself.
There's just so much intelligence that you have that's inside your body. Like you can think, we're done with that era, the like moody genius era. We are in our yoga genius era, or like our full body intelligence era.
Alignment era.
Alignment era. Yeah.
Intuitive era.
The magic era.
Yes. I like that. Let's reframe that as the magic era. Tupi is really into it.
Tupi's like that. That's it. Yeah, I think we are like, especially the younger generation is wholesale like rejecting Western ideology and logic, and they're like, let's get freaky with it. Let's embrace some mystery.
And embracing mystery it's what makes life exciting. Getting comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Of not knowing.
Yeah. Easy to do when you have the right people around you.
Absolutely. When did mindfulness start for you in your life?
Mindfulness started when I was running Nomiku, and I would wake up at like 2 or 3 in the morning I would be woken up by a panic attack.
Oh, that will do it.
I'm just, yeah. And then, and I'm like, the fuck?
And you're like, what is the panic attack? I remember first panic attack. I was like, what's happening right now? This is strange. Do I call 911?
Right. And then I was like, okay, something has to change clearly, and something has to change immediately. Let's Google some shit. Mm-hmm. Let's get a therapist. Let's start exercising. Mm-hmm. And that was like the preliminary kickoff, was that something really fucking bothered me. And like me saying that, I feel like, oh, there is a reason for darkness and pain. I'm like, oh, damn it. I wish it weren't true. Say it ain't so. But I was very motivated to feel better.
You have to have both though, right? You have to have the dark and the light.
Yeah, true that. Wish it wasn't so. I just wanted to be, I wanted to have happy, joy, joy all the time. And yet, what is happy, happy, joy, joy without sad, sad, pain, pain?
How do you enjoy the happiness if you don't know what sadness feels like, right?
Maybe that's why I'm the happiest person ever.
How did you manage your panic attacks after that? What was your whole process for that?
Well, it took like months of incremental and gradual change. I will have a walk. I will put my phone outside of my room. I won't check my email first thing in the morning. In fact, I won't check my email on my phone. I'll check it only when I'm at my computer. I will not look at my phone when my babies are in front of me. It's like all that took so much time to do. And it was just small incremental changes. Like I will take my time flossing. You know what I mean? Like I will be like in the mirror, like, just do it one at a time. Like, and I would eat my food. I'd be like, okay, one ingredient at a time.
It's mindful everything, mindful eating, mindful.
That's right.
Flossing.
The
whole phone outside of your room thing is life-changing though. I do that now. And I don't check my messages till maybe 2 hours after I wake up.
Oh, amazed.
I have to do my meditation. I have to have my coffee. Like I have to do the whole thing before I look at an email. Otherwise, it's like the modern world is very stressful sometimes.
Yes, very true. And let's see if I can find it. Oh yeah, my daughter recently got a microphone for her birthday, and this morning before I went here to hang out with you, I just like was singing into the microphone for about like 20 minutes.
That's very sweet.
I love to do stuff like that. Meditation is kind of hard for me. I don't mind doing it. I get into it, but like I'd rather just like do more like hyperactive shit, like sing in front of a microphone, chase a dog around.
Dancing is great.
Dancing,
just like body movement.
Yeah,
it moves the energy around.
That's right. I'm down for that.
And do you have any sensitivities? Do you see things? Do you hear things? Do you know things?
Ooh.
Because I feel like all humans have this. It's just been lost over the years. And if you intentionally practice, you can attain these gifts, especially with psychedelics.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty common, actually.
I hope to cultivate a sixth sense of humility. That would be Gucci Louie. Like, everything else sounds great too, like being able to read people's vibes, hearing things, seeing things. Yeah, I wouldn't say I have that particularly yet, although like I'm really good at guessing stuff sometimes. And like it freaks.
Oh, well, maybe you're claircognizant.
It like freaks people out. Like, oh damn! And then I was like, I have a lot of context clues.
Or you're just like an intuitive person, which is why you do what you do.
Maybe she's intuitive. Maybe it's hypervigilance. but like it's all like different words for the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, do you want it to derogatorily say hypervigilance? Or would you like to say that it's like some kind of magical superpower? I know who you are.
Magical superpower.
Yeah. I know who you are.
I use that all the time. I was like, what's your superpower? Well, the reason I talked about this in another podcast, but the reason why I call it superpower is because I'm a highly sensitive person. And, growing up, people call you, oh, you're just sensitive or you're weak. Like sensitivity is weak. And I'm like, okay, I'm changing the narrative to superpower.
That's right.
Because it is. Because you're able to read things more than the next person.
Yeah.
And that way it's a gift.
Huge gift.
It takes some managing, but it's
for sure. For sure. Not to say the other way is worse, but being sensitive is pretty cool.
It is. Just got to put your protective bubbles up and everything is fine.
Love bubbles. Love how thin they are.
How do people get in touch with you?
People can get in touch with me through my website, plantminister.com.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
You got the right website for that.
Yes. And I am a licensed minister because the work that I do individually with folks, my private practice is psychedelic guiding, and it is completely non-pathologizing. I will work to make sure that you're healthy and safe with your, psychologist and psychiatrist, or your general doctor, your primary care physician. And for my role, it's all about guiding you through something a bit more spiritual and less medicalized. Even though psychedelics have shown like great promise in the medical region, you and I were about to embark on a big opening that's a little bit outside of the medical field.
I like that. Everyone has spirit. I'm saying this in a non-religious way. We all have spirit. And when you're working on something so personal, for me, it's very logical to go in a spiritual way when it comes to psychology and psychiatry.
There should be space for that.
You know, we all have souls.
Exactly. Like, you can't just like rip it apart and compartmentalize. It don't work.
Exactly. I'm not sure what you can share about the crisis text line, but do you have any personal stories that you could tell? I'm just curious on something very special or something that maybe was triggering for you or had a very profound effect on you personally.
It might sound like disingenuous to say that, but I really do feel it's true that every conversation I have on there, I feel really like this electric excitement and joy and heartbrokenness over like this incredible, there's no like English word for it. Like, what is it? Inspired? Just like this inspiration when people are able to take the first step to help themselves. I will be like in tears sometimes, and not because their story is super sad, although sometimes it is, but it's like just at their bravery of like how much it took just to text. And people will be like, well, you know, it's nothing. Like, it's just text. I'm like, do you know how people don't text and like don't reach out for help? I think just like that, each time I open an amount platform really affects me to my core. Like when you listen to a really good song and it makes your whole body tingle, that happens when I'm there. It's like never, it doesn't feel rote yet. You know, like I'm just like, wow, this person is taking these steps to make a difference for themselves. And in turn, like, it helps so many other people around them. They have no idea. And they're doing something so great. So like, that's like my takeaway for like every conversation that I enter there. It sounds like, whoa, it's like too much, too much to contain for every single conversation. That's why I like limit my time there. I'm not on there 24/7. But when I do get on, it really, it makes my day and like breaks my day. It's just powerful.
And I think the first step is the hardest.
Yes.
That's the thing. It's very admirable to take that first step.
That's right.
Especially if they've been silent for so long.
So many folks will be like, I'll ask them like, have you ever told anybody this? They're like, nobody.
Sometimes it's easier to talk to someone that's outside of your circle in terms of this stuff, especially for the first step. It's like having a neutral perspective. I mean, that's why it's like people get therapists, right? Because you need that person that comes in with a neutral energy.
That's why, you know, there's so many of us out here. We call it sometimes unconditional positive regard. Whatever that comes out will not be judged. Like, you say something like completely, maybe like unacceptable, right, to anybody else, you will be met with unconditional positive regard and your feelings will be validated. That's such a wonderful thing to provide for someone. And to give that teaches me how to receive it myself. So like, thanks to everybody who texts in. Like, you help me.
It's a two-way street, right?
Totally.
Non-judgment is really important.
Yeah. When you stop judging everybody else, you stop judging yourself.
Yes.
Pretty amazing.
Yes. Everything's a mirror, right?
Yes.
Experiences are a mirror. In the end, it does help you.
Yeah. I just get to look at the mirror for a few hours every week.
It's therapeutic for you in its own way.
Yes. Oh yeah. Big time.
DJing has provided me with a channel for creativity as well as another form of meditation. Stay tuned for one of my cosmically curated DJ sets coming up shortly. Well, thank you, Lisa. I loved having you here. Is there anything else you'd like to share? Any messages you'd like to share with the world?
Yeah, it's that you're so loved.
So important.
So loved. And I'm curious what you can do for yourself today to show a little bit of love for yourself. And I don't just mean self-care. You could do something just fun, like take a rip off a bomb. Like, what can you do? What can you do today to have some fun?
Sometimes life is not so serious. Sometimes.
That's right. What if all the time? What if all the time?
It's all about perspective, baby. So I love your energy. I love your vibe. You're definitely a vibe, Lisa.
Oh, thank you. You're a vibe.
And I appreciate having you on the show. Bisous from Paris.
Regular American kisses from San Francisco.
Thank you for being a part of our community. Be sure to connect with me by hitting subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. I greatly appreciate your support and would be thrilled if you could leave a review. Your reviews help this podcast reach a wider audience and foster a stronger collective connection. You can also connect with me on Instagram and YouTube at The Cosmic Whispers Podcast. Thanks for listening.
Once again, Berlin, baby. DC, Philly. Yeah. All the way out there in LA, San Francisco. Can't forget Atlanta. Can't forget. Once again, Berlin, baby. DC, Philly. All the way out there in LA, San Francisco. Can't forget Atlanta. Can't forget. Yeah. All the way out there in LA, San Francisco. All the way out there in LA, all the way out there in LA, San Francisco. All the way out, all the way out, all the way out there in LA, San Francisco. All the way out there in LA, all the way out there in LA, San Francisco. All the way out, all the way out, all the way out there in LA, San Francisco. All the way out there in LA, all the way out there in LA, San Francisco. All the way out, all the way out, all the way out there in LA, San Francisco. All the way out there in LA, all the way out there in LA, San Francisco. All the way out, all the way out, all the way out there in LA, San Francisco. All the way out there in LA, all the way out there in LA, San Francisco. All the way out, all the way out, all the way out there in LA, San Francisco. All the way out there in LA, all the way out there in LA, San Francisco. All the way out, all the way out, once again, Berlin, baby. DC, Philly. Yeah. All the way out there in LA, San Francisco. Can't forget Atlanta. Can't forget. Yeah.
If you like what you hear and would like to check out the full set, be sure to find me, Cosmic Mama, on SoundCloud. That's soundcloud.com/Cosmic Mama.